Voice of Windham. Welcome to another edition of Windham Weekly here on WILI 1400 and 95.3 FM. This is the great show that we have tonight. Let me tell you, it's great every time we have people on our show. We have them every week. We normally stick to education, but today we're going to do some education. But, you know, first let me introduce my co-host, the heart of Windham, Mr. Mark Doyle. We're going to try we're trying to sedate him today because we have a guest who knows how to talk. And that's what I want to hear. I want to hear the wisdom of the man that I brought on.
I'm getting my 10 minutes in now before you two start.
That's right. And at any time, give us a call. 456-1400, because you're going to want to speak to this gentleman who needs no real introduction.
So he's
held every title in the community. He's done more for Windham than anybody. He's married to a wonderful person who cares and works for you daily. Wow. Have you figured it out?
It's the WWE. Come to town.
Dennis O'Brien, the friend of the Windham Weekly Show and the host of Let's Talk About It. Normally, I didn't tell us, Dennis, but we really should change the name of that title to Let's Talk About the Voice of Windham. But tonight we're going to talk about Dennis O'Brien.
We will do that now. Okay. I owe you for that.
So
that's a nice introduction. I don't get those anywhere.
How are things in New Britain?
New Britain is struggling just like we are. It's a former industrial town.
Yep.
And it lost its industries. And when people always say, "Oh, Stanley Works," I said, "Not just Stanley Works. We had lots of them. Everybody worked in. They call them the shops. Everybody worked in the shops.
A lot of factory buildings there.
Oh, Jesus, an awful lot.
So did you load up on Polish food for Easter?
I didn't eat kielbasa until I came here.
Really?
In fact, Walter Pawlikewicz, who just passed away, unfortunately. Yeah. I was at his funeral. He turned me on to kielbasa. And do you remember the celebration we had for was it 300th anniversary of Windham? Was it?
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was a big tercentennial.
Tercentennial. The voice gets it.
Yeah, the guy in the middle here is a little tongue-tied. Anyway,
it's the mustache. Don't worry about it.
Walter, great story. Walter asked me if I would sell kielbasa sandwiches at the parade while he sat in a car with Chris Dodd. And the parade went all the way up West Main Street. He had us in a parking lot up on West Main Street. Me, Jeff Beadle, and Matt Palunik. What a threesome!
Wow.
What a threesome! We were selling kielbasa sandwiches to the crowd, and but on the way out there, we borrowed the kielbasa wagon. It was one of these big metal things. You put hot water in,
right? Yep.
These things. And guess who owned it? Roland Frechette.
Wow.
And Walter took it, and he borrowed it, and I guess he didn't tell Roland I had it, because if he did, he probably wouldn't have given it to him. But anyway, Walter took the wagon. I picked it up on the morning of the parade. I drove out to Windham, hooked it up to Sue's truck, and I'm driving back to Windham behind this big, huge frog on a truck. And then I go down. I choose to go down the highway to get to West Main Street. I'm driving down the highway. I'm singing to myself. I'm happy. It's a nice parade. I'm going to be selling kielbasa sandwiches. I'm going to eat a little kielbasa for a change. And it's good. It's probably not good for you, but it's good. It tastes good. So I'm driving down the road, and I look in the rearview mirror, and that thing is gone. And I go, what? So I go to the first exit. I get off. I'm driving back down, and I see the kielbasa wagon going down the highway on its rollers. It was on rollers. Wow. And a guy chasing it. And the guy was Bob Burns, later to be known as the Average American. There was a book written about Bob.
Yeah.
He was, some guy decided to write a book called The Average American.
Who was the most average person? Yeah, I remember
Bob
that.
Burns saved my skin. He caught up to that thing. We hooked it back up, and the rest is history. Matt Palunik and I and Jeff Beadle were selling kielbasa sandwiches while everybody else.
Dennis, after hearing that story, I now know why Susan has been with you so many years. That's intriguing. I mean, that Susan, she's probably one of the brightest people on the show.
She's protecting me. She's protecting me.
She's good. She's good for you. Hey, so listen, Dennis is here for, he can talk about anything he wants. He is the king of
I just did.
He did.
Yeah, but not too many kielbasa stories this time of year.
That's the last one for
Days
today.
of the year.
But anyway, Dennis is a real strong proponent of the Windham Public Schools and public schools in general.
Always.
And I'd like to have him just give a little, between him and Mark, give us a little update of where we are with this budget. The vote looks like to be May 12th. And
Yes.
we're definitely going to ask. And like I said, I'm not an elected official, so I can tell you, please vote yes.
There
just
will
vote
be
yes.
April 20th or 21st. 21st is I guess the Board of Finance will have yet a town meeting or a public hearing. And that's when they will definitively set the budget rates. And then you're right, the referendum will still be the 12th of May.
Yes.
So you have one more chance to voice your opinion, though. I would encourage you to do it now. Send emails and calls, because by the time the meeting rolls around, I will tell you honestly, a lot of it has already been decided. So, if you want to influence the Board of Finance in their decision, contact them now. Between now and like I said, that's April 21st.
So your budget request is 3.97,
Right.
Mark, right? From the
Our
Board
part
of
was
Ed?
3.97. They kind of switched the way they were doing things. We used to talking mills, now we're talking percentage. I know that last night the Board of Finance agreed to put 3.9% increase, not mills, but a percent increase to both our budgets, the town and the Board of Ed. I don't have the exact numbers for the town, but I know the Board of Finance reduced the Board of Ed's request by $1 million.
So right now, ladies and gentlemen, that's $1 million cut to the Board of Education. And I mean, honestly, the superintendent and her cabinet did a heck of a lot of work getting it down from 9.9 to 3.97, which I thought was extremely reasonable. A lot of hard work. So what Mark is saying, if there's a meeting on April 20th or the 21st to speak your mind to the Board of Finance for the opportunity before everything is set in stone, now's the time for every school and every parent and every child to get involved and go in there and rally for the reasons why it needs to go back to 3.97 and let the voters say what they want to have on a budget.
Well, that 3.9 is an increase. It's not.
It's a 3.9 increase.
It's a cut from the proposal.
Right.
Big time, no doubt about it. And I have to say, we've had. I know you guys have taken over our function of having guests from the schools on. We don't get them on as often as you do.
No, well,
for sure. You have connections.
I have a connection. Yeah,
I don't have it. My connection is good, but not great. Yours is great, Mark.
You get all the state reps.
I get all the state reps. We got Matt Ritter coming on tomorrow. The Speaker of the House. But anyway...
Now, Matt Witter's sister is our attorney.
I know. In fact...
She's very, very bright.
Another story. When I was on the town council, the issue of the renovation, high school renovation came up. Murphy Sewell called me and asked me to get it through the town council, because it has to go through the town council, the application, because the town owns the building. The town doesn't own the books and the pencils and erasers, but the town owns the building. I represent towns that where boards of education don't understand that. They think they own the building, and I cannot abuse them of that notion, despite the fact that I'm very good friends with the guy that wrote the book on education law, Tom Mooney.
Tom
Mooney's an old friend.
Another excellent attorney.
He is excellent.
He represented us for a number of years on the board of, and then Jessica Ritter became the rep, but both worked for the same law firm. But
anyway, we had trouble getting it through the town council. I couldn't get it on the agenda. I won't say who kept it off.
Right.
But it was the mayor, and the town manager did nothing. So we have a rule. We had a rule then on the town council. I think it still holds, that if you can get 3 council members to sign off, you can force something on the agenda. Yep. And I got Lynn Ide and James Flores to sign off on it with myself. Might have been Tom DeVivo as well, and we got it on the agenda. And of course it passed, and we sent it on. But I called down there to the law firm to talk to Jessica, and who answered the phone but Matt Ritter. And he guided me through it, and we got it in, and it worked. And I'm really, really proud of being involved in that. Yep. That was a great move by the town. We got a nice reimbursement rate.
Well, that's thanks to Senator May Flexer and Representative Susan Johnson.
Absolutely, both on the Education Committee at the
Absolutely. This is when you want to elect people who can get things done and benefit your community outside of they're responsible for the whole state, but they know their bread and butter is right here. Let's take care of our community, and that's what we always ask. That's why we want you to get involved, especially as young parents. You should be going to these Board of Ed meetings, but you should be, use your phone. Well, I don't have a phone tree anymore, do they? They probably have a text tree. and do that and communicate that, get the word out there. We're in dire straits if we don't get this budget passed. We really need it to go back to the 3.97. And so hopefully with enough voices and enough pressure, you can rally that If not, we've got to get this budget through on the first go-round.
Truer words have never been spoken. This is true. A lot of people think it's inadequate, so they vote it down. They think they're going to get more. That never happens.
It never happens.
You have to. It just gets reduced.
Right.
So you have to support the budgets. I have to say, and I generally don't talk about how I vote once I go into the booth there, but I have never ever voted no on a budget, on any of the budgets. You got to support government. Government does so much for the people, and you can't. Hey, what? Everybody else has to take a back seat to public education. On a local level, it's the most important thing we do. Got to educate the kids. Got to do it.
Well, you got people who complain that the government is running the people instead of the people running the government, and that's going to happen if you don't get involved. If you don't get involved and go out and exercise your right to vote, communicate to the people that the majority of the people in the town have voted for to lead, and you don't think you're being heard. There's email. There's this. You don't got to be a negative about it because everyone has the right to their opinion opposite of that. But when it comes to public education, this has to get through. We have made, and I that's a collective. We have made huge strides in our district. Huge strides in our district. So many.
Metroarch schools. You got
it's unbelievable.
Millennium Awards. The borough's magnet school has national awards. As a quality magnet school. What you and I just witnessed with the music performance in the last 2 weeks ago was these kids are excellent.
It really was. What a great performance. What a great time for the families and the students. How proud they were.
Especially that little fourth grader who worked with us.
Absolutely.
She was great.
Oh God, her name is going to escape me right now, but she spoke Spanish and English. Jolly I think her name was, and she ran the show on the stage for Mark and I, like Dumb and Dumber. She was telling us what to do and how to do it, and then she had a voice on top of it.
Yep.
But in addition to that, you had the middle school is now off the list of needs of improvement.
Right.
The state that state list, and I'm glad we're off of that. And the high school continues to make strides. But the foundation, we're going to have within a couple weeks the little guys from the high school, the
early childhood learning
kids,
center.
And that's where it all starts. So we got to make sure the funding is in there so we can get more kids in and then build from there.
That's a great point. I'm a great believer in early childhood education. Some people used to call it daycare, but it's not.
No.
It is not. You have professionals teaching the kids from age 3 on.
Right.
And I was a judge in the children's court for 12 years in this town, and I'll tell you, I had a lot of sometimes difficulty convincing young parents and grandparents that their kids should be in preschool. I said, where is this child in preschool? No. What does he do all day? He watches television. I said, no. All these other kids are in preschool. He's going to be 2 years behind when he gets to kindergarten. And that's not good. To be behind in school, you kind of feel like left out. And so, I think everybody, as long as there are slots, everybody should be in preschool. We should have universal preschool. I once made a proposal that all kids in Erg I, and those are the 7 towns that had the most, the biggest achievement gap in the state, and that was, chronically. One of them was my hometown of New Britain. All kids should be in school at age 3. And one of the problems with that is, unfortunately, I do not believe in homeschooling. I do not. I believe if they have it, and I think there's a move in the legislature now to regulate it,
right.
to make sure that it's happening, because not everybody can do that.
Right.
How can you do that?
Well, the state's moving in the right direction in that respect. I mean,
at the very least, know where the child is.
That's right.
Now, for those of you listening at home, Dennis mentioned New Britain once again, so it's time to take a drink of your apple cider. Every time we hear New Britain, we get one drink of the apple cider. For
Tyler Griffin used to count how many minutes before I mentioned New Britain. It's not like I want to go back there. I do like to go back there for.
That's because you haven't left. You haven't left.
Lunch hot dogs, man. They got the best hot dogs.
Oh, don't talk to Ken about hot dogs.
I was just on the Bill Sayers show about a week or
Ken
so.
knows hot dogs, right, Ken?
I'm the food king about hot dogs.
he comes from Rhode Island, the state of hot dogs.
This is great.
Yeah. So I was on the Billy Sayers show on Monday afternoon about 2 weeks ago.
Great show.
Listening to tout about himself, but not quite as big.
He's good.
He's good. He's all right.
He doesn't talk about himself.
He's not like you and I, Dennis.
As much as I do, or Wayno. Wayno's good at it.
But when the governor Bicewicz was on the line with us, right? First thing she brought up was the plan to. It's an expense, but it's an investment in public education to feed every child in the state breakfast at the schools to make sure, because like I told her, we've had that in Windham because of the situation where 85% of the kids are over in the poverty
In the
level.
poverty range, right.
So it flipped a switch. I don't know when I was on the board, so that's decades ago, and so it's a known fact. It's not something they're pulling out of their head that this will make everyone feel good if we offer breakfast. These kids need to have a proper breakfast to start and execute their day and to succeed. And so that's what I mean when I look at Ned Lamont and Susan Bysowitz and the team that's up there. I'm happy, and I said it to her. We're so fortunate to have leadership at the state that recognizes the value of public education. But in my town of Windham, I'm proud to have a guy like Tom DeVivo, who he is the biggest proponent of education I've seen. You can talk to any of the administrators; they absolutely loves Tom's enthusiasm and support.
Yeah, he's good.
There was times, Dennis, and you know this, that people who held that position weren't too friendly to the superintendents. I was involved watching the way they treated.
I just pointed out to one a short time ago. Without naming names.
Right.
It's
It wasn't Victor Funderburk.
No, we're not going to talk about
it. So
in fact, when Victor Funderburk became mayor, it was a breath of fresh air. He was terrific.
Yeah.
What a good guy. He was I guess a union leader.
He was a former teacher.
Definitely a teacher. Very popular teacher. He was a great vote getter.
Yeah,
People loved him.
He was vice president of the union for the teachers.
Yes, he was. And I actually called him up and asked him to run. I thought he turned me down. But he thought about it, talked to Martha, and he ran. And and unfortunately, it didn't last too long. But while he was there, a lot of good things happened.
Yeah, no, and that's what's happened. Like I said, when I go into the school building, that's primarily the high school, but with all the educators that we've had on this last year, about telling about the things that have happened, they've all mentioned to me, God, how lucky we are, and we are because you got people who. To them, it's just a necessary evil instead of what it really can do for people.
Of course, when Ken goes into the high school, he's Mr. Kelly. So, hey, it's Kelly's wife, Kelly's husband. It's Mr. Kelly.
Wow.
Well, I'm Mr. Susan Johnson.
That's all right. Yeah, we can handle it because we have our own egos.
I have my own ego. I certainly do.
Dennis and we have egos. Did anyone know that?
Anyone notice those things?
I would be walking down the street back in the day when Leslie was a kid, and these little kids would be on, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Johnson. I said, okay, I'll take it. I'm proud. It's cool.
Like I said,
but that's okay. You got a great partner.
Yes,
I have a great partner. You have a great partner.
Yes,
we're lucky guys.
Yeah,
and Mark is really lucky because I know he was on the carousel for a while.
Yes, indeed.
But then I asked him to be co-host for 1 year?
Yep, on the air show.
The rest of the year. And when Susan was running, during
election fill-in, right?
Election campaign, and he finally got into some serious talk on the really adult kind of show, and that I take great pride in giving him his start in that regard.
Yeah, well, he should have stayed for more
Yeah,
lessons, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Because
He's doing good though.
Dennis, have you seen the back brace from carrying the guy? I'm telling you.
I brought Ken along. He's still trying to figure out what those dials are over there on the side of the counter.
Ken is a big talker like me, so if you're on a show with somebody like that, sometimes you have to compete for the floor.
You got to break through.
No. So Dennis also, by the way, besides everything else he does in this town, he serves on the Willimantic taxing district. Why don't you let the folks who pay the taxes in the Willimantic area specific, not the town budget, not the Board of Ed budget, but your taxing district. Where are you at, and what is it looking like?
Okay, we're still working on the budget. It is definitely going to be somewhat of an increase. It is, we've got a meeting on Tuesday, the 14th, and hopefully we will get to the finish line on that budget. A few years ago, we changed the charter to make it so that the Board of Finance no longer had control over the police and fire budget, the city budget.
City budget,
It's pretty much all police and fire, although we're talking now about setting up a parking authority, although we're awfully busy. I don't know if we can take it on, but we'll decide that after the budget's over. And the budget is a little bit high. They do a wonderful job. One thing I've learned being on that board is what a great job our police and fire departments do, just as our public education people do. Fantastic. We're lucky to have so many great professionals in this town and advocates for them, like you two guys for the schools and everything. I can't say enough about this. I was so happy when this show came on because it changed completely in terms of being a real positive show, not a gotcha show,
Right.
a show that brings out all the great things
And
that
tries
are
to-
happening
yeah.
in Windham Public Schools, and then you also have other people on too, like myself, that are trying to be
Nobody's
positive.
like you, Dennis. No one's like
No,
you.
there's nobody quite like. Well, we're all individuals. Everybody's different. That's what makes it interesting. But the taxing district board is made up of 6 people who are elected by the people. We've got 2 new people on it. John,
McComas?
John McComas is on it now, and also Kayla Postler. They're new,
Yeah.
replacing Mike Westerfield and who else went off? Nick Martinez.
Nictalis.
Martinez.
Yeah.
He was the chairman for a while, and then I took over as chairman when he was unable to come, and chaired the group for the last half of last year. Chairman is different. We have we have the guy who's actually Joe Courtney's political director, Adam.
Richardson.
Adam Richardson. You can tell I'm getting.
Good thing the voice is here.
Yeah.
I'm getting. Good thing the voice is here. Yeah, the voice of Windham.
This is what happens when you drop your note cards right before the show starts.
Well, I wasn't prepared. I didn't realize I was going to talk about the taxing district. But one thing about the taxing district is that it's like I say, excellent. We had 2 new chiefs last year. They're both doing great.
We had them on the show.
That's right. And okay, we've had them on the show too.
You did?
And
It was after us, though.
On our show.
Yeah, but it was after our show.
I don't think so.
I
don't
I'm not going to argue with my friend Dennis.
I'm going to check it. It's all
Courtesy. He's a little older than I am,
it's
not
all-
much, but you
It's
know.
all in the record.
Wait a minute. You just heard how Dennis can't remember names. How's he going to remember who was on the show
I
when?
can't remember my daughter. Who's my daughter? Let's not. Okay. Anyway, it's a great board. We're learning more and more about police services, and in general, public safety, public education, very vitally important. Got to vote yes for the budgets. Got to vote yes. And if if our budget goes over a little bit, what we'll do probably in the future is maybe we won't fill certain positions. I mean, maybe we'll do that. Maybe the Board of Education will do that. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know. You have to do what you have to do.
Well,
Because on these cuts, we're gonna have to start
get it
doing
down
that.
to 3.97 on the Board of Ed side. They've already had to cut, 7 or 9 positions?
Right. Yep.
Those are filled positions?
Most of them were positions. We've had 2 positions, I believe, that were filled. The rest were positions we had, but now we're not going to fill them.
That
But we
takes
needed them.
enormous courage by the superintendent.
He
Enormous
does.
courage.
You need them.
She's a very strong
She is
person.
great.
She's a very strong
We're
person.
trying to avoid when possible in our first cut. We try to avoid laying people off because there's a hidden cost to that. You still end up paying unemployment, and
It's hard to do.
And so you don't get as much as you think you're getting from that type of cut.
You're right.
So
You're right.
you got to be careful.
In the town, you got to watch what you're doing too. The town budget, we got to watch what we're doing because you got public works. I think they've lost 2 positions already, and I don't know what this cut's going to do to them now. And again, that's your quality of life right there. As far as I'm concerned, taking care of the ball fields, the streets, the snow removal,
The curbing.
the cribbing at my house. Yeah, and we'll talk to Don Fazio about that again.
They plowed them again, folks.
I'm on the list.
Well, they do a lot. And
But I mean, it does.
it's great to have the trash picked up. I'll tell you that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's for local politicians. That's what the most important thing. That's the most important thing we got going is maintaining our roads, our sidewalks, and and that by keep voting no to save a nickel, you're going to waste $1. I'm telling you, it's going to hurt, and it's going to reflect in the growth of this community. I think.
I think you're right, but I must say that we are not responsible for higher gas prices. That comes from us. That is not us. That is not local. That is not local. If the trash isn't picked up, well, then we'll call Casella.
Okay.
We'll make sure Casella gets after us, after his people get it out of there, and they do it. They do a great job. And so I'm really pleased with the way the superintendent is very impressive. We had her on the show not before you did. You guys beat us to it. You had an
Thank
edge.
you.
You have an inside person.
Right.
Inside information.
That's why I don't get the governor. You do.
Inside. Yeah, I get the
Well,
governor.
I don't know. I was promised by Mr. Bill Sayers a few people
gonna
that
get
I
the
want to
governor?
talk to. No, I don't want. Well, Ned's very busy. I get that, with all due respect. But I want William Tong on my show.
William Tong is great.
Yeah. I think
William
he's
Tong
going
has had
to. I think
dinner
he's
at
going to
our
be our
home.
next U.S. senator.
That's going to be wow.
Well, when someone retires,
Well, whenever there's a lot of people near the top that would like to be at the top, and statewide, and I think I know who they are, and there's a lot of them.
yes,
Ned, I didn't know Ned was going to run again. I'm glad he's doing it.
I'm glad he's running
He's
again.
popular. He's a very nice guy.
Right.
And he calls me Dennis the Schmoozer. That's what he calls me. You're a schmoozer. He was just out here. We had him right in the studio, WILI, and we had Beisowitz in the studio. She's great. She comes there a lot. But Ned is a frequent visitor to Windham. Comes for the parade, comes for concerts. I remember came for my 75th birthday party. Happened to be on a day when we had a concert at the Schmoo stage. That helped.
Right.
He went up. I wasn't the only
He
draw.
played piano, did he?
He did. He played piano on the stage, and right after he wished me happy birthday over on at the late great Jeff Smith's house, and he's a great guy, and I think he's a strong candidate.
It's getting deep in here, folks, with all the name dropping. So
Let's
hang on.
just drop
So at least I
couple more-
remember the governor, who the governor was.
Let's drop one more name, then we can get out of politics again and get back to the importance of the budgets. But
Yeah. Okay.
So Joe,
that's politics.
so in the Democratic Party, there's a lot of young progressives that are challenging the older federal
Yeah.
delegation. And my thing here is Joe Courtney. Is that going to be settled before a primary happens, or with Josh
I
Elliott?
don't know. I mean, if you get 15% of the vote at a convention, you can primary.
Yeah.
It's not too hard to get 15%. But, Joe Courtney is very popular. I'm sure you both met him. He's a very nice
Yes, he
guy.
is. Super nice. His wife used to work at the middle school.
His wife was a nurse.
At the middle school, yeah.
Yeah, she's Audrey. Wonderful person there. I don't know. I don't know if this fellow can. I got a communication from him. I didn't answer it. I was going to, but God, I get so many communications because I'm still working, and I represent 3 small towns in the area. And speaking of towns that are having difficulties with budgets, the small towns in eastern Connecticut, not farther west, but in eastern Connecticut, are having a lot of difficulty with budgeting because they don't have enough taxes, tax base other than residential.
Right.
And that is getting worse and worse and worse. So I'm an advocate for, and I think I've heard Ken say this, for consolidation of. So I would consolidate school districts
Without
first.
a doubt.
School districts.
Give up
first.
your fiefdoms and do what's right.
You have to. I mean,
Yeah.
they're going to wait till their backs are almost against the wall.
All 3 of us have voiced that same
Yeah,
opinion.
you have
You
too.
and I are early in that.
We talked about
point.
that
Yep.
when you were on the show,
Right.
and I've been talking about it for years. And I'll tell you, actually Susan submitted a bill 10 years ago for all Uri towns, all the 7 of them, and there's only 2 in Eastern Connecticut: New London and Windham. And we have concentrated poverty, and we wanted to make the surrounding towns join with Windham into one big Windham school district. Even if we call it something else, I mean, just consolidate.
Yeah.
So I think we get economies of scale. I mean, we're not living in a horse and buggy world anymore. We're living in the world of IT.
Right.
I'm not good at it, but I can handle it. I can do it. But younger people, I mean, like our friend here, they can do it. And why not take advantage of high tech, and instead of having all these little towns with a very little area, you have people who live in this town who have grandchildren who go to school in Columbia or Chaplin or Mansfield, and they're not motivated as much as they would be to go out and support the school budget. And that is a problem.
Right.
It's going to happen.
The area towns are so small.
It's going to
Yeah,
happen
very
sooner or later.
small.
When I was the chairman of the board years ago, right?
Yeah.
I think it was Paul Perzanowski at the time was the superintendent.
Yeah.
We were having regular meetings with the gentleman from Hampton.
Yeah.
They reached their limit, and
Yeah.
I could have saved him, $2,000 a year per student if he just sent his kids to, junior high school.
You're right.
Because they had it, I think
Parish
it was
Hill.
K through whatever.
Yeah.
Because they were on the verge of closing Parish Hill, and the
Yeah.
other schools were looking. It comes through a matter of common sense, in balancing budgets. And again, everyone is aware. Mark and I and yourself, Dennis, are well aware of the balancing act we have to do. How much can you stretch the homeowners' pocketbooks, and how much does the town need and the school need to operate optimally? You don't want to stay stagnant. We were stagnant for a long time.
Right.
We're going up like a rocket ship in this district.
We are.
It's amazing,
Yeah.
and it's like don't lose the momentum over dollars and loss of staff.
Yeah.
That's just
Well, I think
it
to
drives
some
me
extent
crazy.
correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like there's not as many kids around as there used to be. People are not having big families now.
Correct.
It's too expensive.
There's also,
I don't know how they do it.
It's also expensive. If you've been keeping up with the local news, finding an apartment for people becoming very expensive now. It's $1,000, $2,000 for a 2-bedroom apartment. It's very expensive.
That's ridiculous.
And that's going to hold down the
that is a shame. I'm so glad we put in a fair rent commission. Mike Westerfield is the chairman. He left our board to do that, and I couldn't argue with him. It's a very important thing that if we can hold them down, but you can only hold it down so much.
Correct.
And it's tough. I think, God, I can remember when you could buy a house in some parts of town for $50 to $75,000, and now those same houses are selling for as much as I paid for my house 25 years ago on Bolivia Street, and it's very sad. I mean, it's I when I was in legal aid, I don't remember when I started back in 1972 as an attorney. I was there as a student since 1970. I don't remember anybody running into anybody who was homeless. And now you've got homelessness. And Susan talks about it all the time, about how homelessness has affected our public schools as well. And addressing that, it requires a lot more than just teachers and social workers and
the outreach.
Psychologists, outreach, all kinds of stuff.
And it's a shame now. I just read in the papers, I think this morning in my review of the papers, some towns have now decided to make it legal to sleep in a park. And it struck me as that's kind of it's nice, but that's kind of a warped way of looking at the homeless issue by saying, okay, you can sleep in the public park now.
In Rhode Island, Walford, they actually opened them. The governor has opened them. They're called pallet shelters. They're homes made out of pallets. I mean, come on. Let's have a little more dignity than that to help these folks.
I know it's a matter of survival, though. It's a shame. It's a shame what we've come to. It's the upper middle class is doing well. The billionaires are doing real well, and I haven't seen any around here. But guys, in the 12 years I was in the probate court, I think if you had an estate of $2 million or more, you had to pay the estate tax. And I think I had 2 cases of people who had to pay the estate tax. One was a guy who was a professor up in Mansfield who had a stroke, and his family moved him into a nursing home in Windham, and they sold his house. If they had kept his house, he would have been in Mansfield, and I wouldn't have had that case either, because we got a bigger fee out of that case.
Right.
But and the state got some taxes, but there's not a lot of wealth in this town. There's not any really. Okay. It's very rare. It's very rare. This is a middle class town. It's a great town, great people, very interesting. We got all these assets. We got this wonderful radio station. We've got the Chronicle, which it's not what it used to be, but it's still there.
Still a local paper.
Yeah,
still a local
because
paper.
you can find out just by reading the Chronicle, to a great extent, what's going on.
Well, that's one of our issues. I think we talk about the budget and whatnot and getting people to support it. It's hard to get people to even know about it. And
yes.
We get to the day of the vote and they say, you hid this from us. You didn't tell us you were voting today. So, we've been on the radio. We've been in the newspaper.
Yeah.
We've had public forums.
You're on the sign board that we invested for 2 of them.
But that's the other problem is getting people involved enough to at least care to know when the votes are and come out and vote.
Well, the younger generation doesn't.
About 1%. The last budget vote was 1% of the population?
I don't know. It was extremely low.
Very low, yeah.
Well, it passed with a big tax increase coming up. It passed because the turnout was so incredibly low.
Right.
And sometimes with budgets, the turnout, you're better off with a turnout that's in the mid-range rather than, everybody.
Right.
It all depends.
So we are talking with Dennis O'Brien, who needs no introduction, as I always say, because this guy has held many positions, has done so many things. Little League, we can get into all of that, but he has really led the charge, and he is married to State Rep Sue Johnson, who, as you know, has committed her life to improving this town, and we're grateful for that because things have really starting to take shape, and we don't want to lose that momentum. If you want to talk to Dennis, 456-1400. Mark?
And Dennis can talk to you about baseball as well as basketball.
Oh, let's talk about the Red Sox, not the Cardinals, though. Yeah. We won 2 games in a row.
Cardinals are hot, 7-5.
Yeah, I know you are.
But they're young. They're not going to be affected.
They're not going to be there? Oh, okay.
They're playing the Red Sox tomorrow. I think the Red Sox will probably...
Well, we finally... I think he either won 2 or 3 games in a row finally. 2, right? 2 games.
2 very well-pitched games.
I can tell you,
Well-pitched,
in his prime, Dennis was a very hot commodity on the YMCA basketball court.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, I was there. I got an award one year for being, because you have to punch in or something, and I had the most times there in the whole year, because I was if I wasn't playing basketball, I was lifting weights or running around or something. I always had a lot of
A regular Iron Man.
Yeah,
That
a lot of
Dennis
energy.
O'Brien.
That's where all the words come from.
Now, don't forget
All the words.
also girls softball. You were a pioneer in making that group successful here in town.
1983, I started girls softball in Willimantic Little League, and it's still going strong. And now we're going to have lights for the field this year, for the softball field. The first time we tried to get it for both fields, and apparently by the time they got around to doing it, the town, it became more expensive, and the more expensive field was definitely the field that was not on the Route 32 on Windham Road. It was was that Quercus Avenue?
The Everfield.
Yeah, it was more expensive. They had to move poles and stuff, and I guess I think Eversource was the problem in terms of expense.
There was something I heard some talk about that Eversource changed the pricing at some point, or
Could be. I don't know, but I was hoping that folks didn't blame me for it, because they know I have a bias in favor of girls softball, which I spent more than 30 years coaching, and I don't do it anymore because I have arthritis in my knees.
it needs a shot. Yeah,
And I need to be able to spend some time on the show with you, and
Sure.
with Bill Sayers, and I got to get around. I want to get on some of the afternoon shows and set some of them straight.
Right, good
Yeah.
idea.
Oh, well, I'm sure you could do that. Matt could probably arrange that. He's
I
a
would
wonderful
try. I
producer,
would
right,
try.
Matt? It'd be an interesting
It
conversation.
would take Arthur to do it. It would have to be the boss, the big boss, not just me, not just you. Maybe, I don't know, Matt. You're pretty.
He's powerful.
You're pretty influential guy.
He's up there in the
I
corporate
hear your
ladder.
ads on the radio all the time. You sound great, and your show is great. And
Are you paying for those ads?
no, those are station ads. It's
Well, it's sponsored by Eastern Insurance Associates, so they pay.
on the show. Yeah, I don't know about the ad. Oh, they pay for the ads too.
Yeah.
Ah,
You got a sweet gig going
I
there.
did not know that. Okay, well that's
Wow.
hey, you learn something new every day.
Yeah.
You come on with Mark and Ken,
Ken.
the voice, and you learn something new. It's fabulous.
Don't ever pretend you don't know me.
When
Dennis.
he contacted me, I was just
I'm the talent. You
hey,
know that.
I couldn't remember the name of my chairman. When Ken contacted
Ken,
me,
yes, Ken.
right away I saw the message. I said, I got to call him right back. I got to get on this show.
Yeah.
I got things I need to say and need to get
Because
out.
what we want to do next time around, we have the opportunity. We'd like to have Susan on by herself. Too.
Oh, that would be
because
great.
unlike your show, we want to give her the opportunity to actually speak.
Actually, she talks a lot. Doesn't she, right, Matt? She talks.
That's not
She
No.
complains. I have people come up to me in the street and they say, Dennis, you don't talk enough on Let's Talk About It. Really?
Well, that's
All right,
because
so
you spend half the time out in the office because you're afraid of her.
6 minutes.
A lot of people are afraid of her.
We're
She's
going to
tough.
go full circle, Dennis. So I want your take on. You already updated the status on this Willimantic Service District, budget.
Taxing district, yeah.
Taxing district. So let's go to just your take on the town budget, what needs to happen, what you're asking of the people, the Board of Ed budget, what needs to happen, and whatever information and wisdom you could give to this community as you have for decades.
There was no increase on the Windham budget last year. There was no. I don't think there was any increase on the. There might have been a small increase on the taxing district budget. Education budget last year.
We had a small increase.
Small increase,
Yep.
very small.
Right, yep.
Next to nothing. And these things run in cycles, and it is not, government is not cheap. It costs money, but the services that are provided by all of the government agencies in town, including and especially because they're the biggest, the school system, the school district, are immense. The value we get from
Right.
those teachers and all the staff and the administration is immense. It's a great buy. I, for one, have never, ever voted against a budget in this town, and that's because I know I'm getting my money's worth.
Well, I say this, right? So we as a community, right, invested in a middle school recently. We invested $112 million into
Renovate is new.
Renovate is new at the high school, and that came out beautiful. Thanks to our chairman, Mike Callahan. I mean, what a find! What a find! Thank you, Dennis, for him.
I recruited him.
He's a great guy. Knowledge, We got the
He was mad at
Barrow.
me after a while. But
We got the Barrow School. So we've spent millions of dollars on the brick and mortar to
have.
make it up to date, to give the kids the best possible educational experience they can have. Okay? And Dennis mentions the cost of education, and I look at it this way. Yeah, there's an expense to education, but it's a greater expense to have ignorance.
You got it. If people fail in school, they're not going to do well in life, especially now. It's much, much harder to get by. And they're going to cost more money.
And once
They
again,
have to be
as Mark,
supported by the state.
as Mark can attest, and as every administrator and teacher who's come through this, I have never seen such a commitment to a school district with the new
staff is-
teachers that we
right.
have. We've had nothing but young teachers come on here, and I'm talking 20s. You know one of Mike Hope. We started out with him last summer. 26, 27 years old, straight out of school with his master's. The energy they're bringing. And the technology that they bring with them, and they know enough to learn about relationships, and that's how it's growing.
Yep.
Hey, you got Jason Altieri. Jason Altieri, I told
Yes.
him years ago,
Yep.
Jason, you should be a teacher. You love children. You're very talented, and you're very, you can sing.
Yep.
He sang. I sang with him on the show. I don't think I could do it today
No,
with my
no.
voice all gravelly,
No.
but I did sing a song from the Traveling Wilburys album, one of the best albums of all time.
Wow.
And Matt was right here to hear it, and we did okay. Matt's
Hey.
not saying anything. Oh, Matt!
I don't want to be remiss here. I want to remind everyone in the community to come out tomorrow at 5 p.m. on Main Street. We're going to support and clap and applaud and show that Windham spirit to everyone who attends the Windham Technical High School parade for the young men's basketball team, state champs since first time since either 67 or 69, I can't remember.
Since a trade school, since the tech school won in '67, and that was Abitech, the team they defeated in the finals this year.
So take some time Friday afternoon, 5 o'clock, hang out, watch this parade, attend this parade. Hey, I heard there's going to be some big names down there that they want to see what kind of a support and enthusiasm we have for our tech school, but more importantly, the support and enthusiasm we have for our students that are in that building. They're part of our community, and we hope to retain them. I know Susan works hard at getting this project underway. If we can get that done, that would be a win for Windham.
They were at the legislature with her yesterday, and with May Flexer, and they enjoyed it immensely. And we're going to be there. I urge everybody to be there. I just talked to Tom DeVito this morning, and he is going out to get a truck, and he is going to bring the truck that the players are going to ride in. I still remember when Paul Martineau's team won a few years ago, Windham High School, and I remember seeing Paul up on that truck, and I was so happy to see those Windham High kids celebrating that championship.
Yeah, this is a big deal. It's a big opportunity to showcase Windham to some of these people coming in from the state level. And we need to keep Windham Tech here. But more importantly, like I said, that's the win. But the biggest thing is the support the kids at the tech school who won this. Decades have gone by before we've seen this. So we're really happy and proud. We had Coach Gilday on a while ago, and Dennis, I know you had him on
you
recently.
scooped me.
Of course I scooped.
I had him last week.
Voice.
I was a Johnny Come Lately.
Yeah, well,
Just follow our
just
lead.
follow our lead, Dennis, and that show might take off one
I just
day.
listened to the show, and then I know who to get on my show.
I think it's almost time to wrap up here.
Yep. So thank you again for listening to Windham Weekly, and thank you to Dennis O'Brien, who once again takes time from his family to commit to the community out here. Dennis O'Brien, one of the best assets we have besides his wife, Susan, helping our community grow.
Well, you two guys are right in there, too, as far as being assets. I'm glad you have this show. It's fantastic.
Thank you, Dennis.